Hello my dear students, welcome to my class. Today I will be discussing chapter number 12 and the name of the chapter is The Earth. The Earth. Earth was not always the way it is now, okay. So it was very hot, okay. The things which are all on the earth was getting boiled, okay. So very hot. Millions of years ago earth was not like this. Millions of years ago there was no life on the earth, okay. So there is no life on the earth. Slowly earth cooled down, okay. So day by day, after 1,000 years somewhat cooled down, and after another 1,000 years somewhat cooled down, okay. So like that the earth is formed completely now, okay. So now the living beings, the living things can live on this earth, okay. So millions of years ago there was no life on this earth. Let us see how the earth, what are the changes happened from the millions of years, okay, on this earth, okay. So let us go into the detail. The air also cooled and the water vapor in it formed clouds. Then it rained so much that the low parts of the earth crust got covered with water. The water covered parts are oceans. Only about 1/4 of crust stayed about water. This is what we call land, okay. So after million years ago when water cooled down, okay. So after cooling down, what happened? The liquid stuff at the top of the earth changed into thinner layers. What are the liquid stuffs you will be having on the outer surface of the earth, okay, which is cooled down, okay. So that changed into a rocks, okay. So example, you can take it as a milk. When you boil a milk, no, so it forms a cream on the upper surface, upper faces, okay. The same way millions of years ago when the earth was very hot, okay, so after cooling down it formed a one layer, okay. That layer is said to be a crust, okay. So the outermost layer of the earth is said to be a crust. Example, here in your book they have given the example. The crust of the earth is not very thick if you compare the earth with a mango. So here the earth has been compared with a fruit, mango. The crust would be like a skin of mango. Under the crust is a lot of molten rocks. So crust, as I already told you, the crust is the outer layer of the earth, okay. So if you take a mango and if you compare the mango with our earth, okay. So the outer layer of the mango, that is the skin of the mango, is compared with a crust, and after the skin there are fleshes, pulpy things, no, very watery, pulpy, okay. So pulpy, so flesh, what we eat, okay. So that is compared to the molten rocks, okay. That flesh, mango flesh, is compared to the molten rocks. And after that what happens? Seeds inside the flesh, you will find a seed, okay, the mango seed, that is compared as a rocks, molten rock ball of hot solid metal. So that compared as a hot solid metal, okay. So first the outer layer of the outer layer of the skin of a mango is said to be a what? Crust. And after that what the second layer is what? Molten rocks. And inside the seed, the seed one is said to be a molten what? Hot solid metals, okay. So how do we know that there is a molten rocks under crust? So here rises one question, that how can we know that under the earth there was a molten rocks, okay. How? We are not going inside the earth, right? So we are not going and finding out that what is deep inside the earth, okay. So now sometimes the molten rocks find its way out through crackers in the crust. The crackers are called volcanoes. So after a few years, okay, after few years, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, it depends on the nature, okay. So I cannot nobody can definitely say that the molten rocks comes out after every 2 years, okay, every 1 year or every 3 years, okay. It completely depends on the nature when it comes out. When it comes out, the molten rocks, when it comes out, okay. So through how it comes out, the earth gets crackened, okay. So that crackened is said to be a volcano. And what are the molten rocks coming from the volcano? That is said to be a lava. very hot, okay, very hot materials from inside the earth coming. So from that we can say that yes, inside the earth crust, deep inside the earth, there are hot molten rocks. Now soil. In most places on land, rocks are covered with layer of soils. Soil is actually powdered rocks, okay. Rocks are a big stone, okay. So big stones, okay, hills, big stones. So when it gets broken up, no, it takes as a shape of a soil. So example, sugar. If you take a cube sugar, if you grind it, then it becomes a sugar powder. The same way when the rock gets broken up, no, so it becomes into a small particles. That particle is said to be a sand, okay, or you can say it as a clay also. Rocks are heated during the day and cooled during the night. This makes them weak. So rocks are heated during the daytime because of the sun rays. When the sun rays, sun rays are very hot. When it falls on the rocks, it gets heated up, okay. So at the night it becomes cool. So daytime it is quite hot and the night time it is quite cooled, okay. So this makes the rock quite weak to break very easily, okay. Rain carries the broken pieces which tumble about the break into small pieces. Very fine pieces of rock form clay, bigger pieces are called sand. Already I told you, when the rock gets broken, sand and clays are formed, okay. So very fine pieces are said to be a clay, okay. So clay is is a form of a rock. With clay we can make a potteries and all, okay. So potteries, and the sand is quite bigger than the clay. Clays are like a powdery and the sand is like a little bigger than the clay. Soil has some air and some water. Plants use the water in the soil. Earthworms and other animals that live in the soil use the air in the soil to breathe. So soil is full of water, and the soil is nothing like simply a soil, okay. It contains water as well as what? Air, okay. So the water present in the soil is used by the plants, okay. The plants get water from the soil, and the air present inside the soil are used by earthworms, okay, for breathing purposes. For breathing, everybody knows air is compulsory. So for the breathing purposes, earthworms lives on the ground. So that's why the earthworm gets air from the soil. So now we'll go to the topic how the earth moves, okay. So we have completed and what is crust, what is inside the crust, and what is soil also we have completed. The next topic is how the earth moves, okay. So how earth moves? Earth moves on its axis, okay, spinning. It spins on its axis, okay. So that spinning is said to be a rotation. So earth rotates from west side to east side, okay. So that spinning of earth is said to be a rotation. As earth rotates, different parts of it faces the sun. The part that faces the sun has day. The part that is away from the sun has night. When earth spins, okay, so on its axis at that time, the part which faces the sun side, okay, so that side becomes a day, and the part which is away from the sun side, that side becomes night. That is why the away from the sun, that is why we say it is a dark. It becomes dark. Dark means it becomes night, okay. So it takes 24 hours to complete one rotation. How many hours? 24 hours to complete one rotation. The earth does not only spin, it also moves around the sun, and the movement of the earth around the sun is called revolution. So the earth not only spins, there is a lots of difference between spin and the movement, okay, spinning, rotation and revolution. There is lots of difference between rotation and revolution. Rotation means it is rotating in an axis, okay, but revolution is not like that. Revolution is moving around the sun. The earth is moving around the sun, okay. So that is the difference. And it takes the earth 365 days and 6 hours, quarters of a day to complete one revolution. So we have seen that rotation 24 hours. It takes 24 hours to rotate, to spin the earth. Okay. For a revolution it is 365 days and 6 hours. Seasons. Do you know why seasons change? Do you know what is the reason of changing the season? Sometimes we get winter season, sometimes we get summer, autumn, spring season. Okay. So what is the reason behind the changes of the season? Okay. Changes of the day, why day and night forms. Okay. I told you. Now what is the changes of why it is seasons are changed. Okay. Sometimes winter, sometimes summer. Okay. So they do because the earth tilts to one side as it revolves around the sun. This makes different parts of the earth come closer to the sun at different times of the year. The part that is closer to the sun gets more heat, so it has summer, and the other parts has winter. So at the time of revolution, okay, so rotation makes day and night, not the revolution. Revolution makes seasons. Okay. At the time of revolution, when the earth is moving around the sun, at that time the part which come closer to the sun, that part becomes hot. Okay. So we say it as a summer season. Okay. And the part which stays away from the sun, that part is said to be a what? That part is said to be a winter. Okay. So winter season, that is not much, hot compared to the part which is closer to the sun. In June, the northern part of earth, wherein India comes closest to the suns. At the time of June, we say no, June, July, it's a summer season. Why it is a summer season? Because at time the revolution of the earth, when the revolution of the earth take place, so our part comes closer to what? Closer to sun. That's why at that season, June, July season, at that time we feel quite hot and we say it as a summer season. So we have summer. At that time, Australia and other places of the south have the winter. So at that time, when we have a summer season, at that time some parts are away from the sun. So like Australia and other southern parts of our earth. So that season, that part's called winter. Okay, that part forms in a winter. And in the December season, November, December, we feel it is a very cold, no? So we wear sweaters, shrugs, woolen cloths, we go near the fire for getting the hotness. Okay, so it is quite shivering type, no, on that season, winter season, because at that time when the earth revolves around the sun, at that time our part that keeps away from the sun, that faces away from the sun. Okay, so that is why it is winter. At the time of winter season in our country, other countries feel the summer season. The next topic is the earth pulls. Okay, so that is a gravity. You can say gravitational force. You have heard about the gravitational force. So if the earth is spinning around all the time, why do things not fly off it? They do not, because the earth pulls everything onwards towards itself. It even pulls anything that tries to fly off. So when the earth, I told you, earth pulls. Okay, why don't we fly? Okay, so because the gravity of the earth, the gravity that pulls towards the earth, that makes us stand on the surface of the earth. We are standing on the surface of the earth because of what? Because of gravity. So if I throw this pen, no, so it will fall down. Okay, so because why it is falling down? Because of the gravity. Earth pulls the things on it, earth pulls the things towards it. Okay, the pull of earth is called gravity or gravitational force. If it acts on everything on us, on the waters of the oceans, on the air and so on. So gravity not only acts on human beings and solid materials, it acts everywhere. So on the water, on air, everywhere it acts. Okay, the gravity is everywhere. So earth itself is a gravitational force, it pulls down. Floating. So the next topic is floating. Then how do balloons and clouds float and not come down? Air can hold up or support light things like balloons and clouds. Okay, so why balloons and clouds float? Okay, clouds are floating on the sky, right? So why it is floating on the sky? How it is floating? Because air supports it. Okay, so some lighter things, balloons, it goes upward because air supporting it. Example, there if I am keeping this pen on my hand, okay, so my hand is supporting, okay, so my hand is supporting not to fall down this pen on the ground, okay, that is, so the air supports it to float over it. Okay, floating in water, many things float in water. This means water can also support things against the pull or gravity, but not all things float in water. Usually heavy things sink. Okay, so many things you have seen, leaf, if you throw into the water, okay, so leaf will float because it is lighter. Okay, so water supports it to float. If I throw an iron box into the water, what will happen? It will sink inside, it will go down. Sink means going down. Okay, so it is heavier than water, that's why it is going down. Okay, and the lighter thing floats. So this also proves that water also supports to float. So this is the end of the discussion, and if you have any doubt, any queries, so please comment on the comment box, I'll clarify it.